Okay, good.
We don't have that.
I'd like to call the Mount Olive Township Council meeting for January 6, 2015 to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for our men and women serving in the military.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Michelle, would you read the Open Public Meetings Act, please?
According to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Here.
Mrs. Laybow.
Here.
Mr. Mania. Mr. Perkins. Mr. Roman.
Here.
Mr. Ferrante.
Here.
Mr. Nicastro.
Here. Please let the records reflect Mr. Perkins is out ill and Mr. Mania is away. We have a discussion item is Department of Transportation request for left turn prohibition on Wolf Road, Route 46 East.
One time, Sergeant Paul Watson for the record. I've already spoken to all of you about this proposal. I'm actually going to refer to the mayor fairly quickly here because I think already we're in the process of saying this is not a good idea.
I've already directed Sean Canning to write to DOT in opposition to the DOT's position in terms of prohibiting the turns and indicating that we believe that a redesign of the intersection is more appropriate, inclusive of turning lanes. And so the administration has already adopted the police department's position, and I'm sure all of us using the highways of the township on a regular basis all agree that the proposal is kind of absurd and that there are better options if they believe there are problems with that intersection.
Yeah, I second that with the mayor. We're trying to do a number of things there. We've already cleared it out. As you know, Timmy Quinn has helped us clear out about 1,000 yards of soil. That's been a huge help. But we want to do more. We have to push the state to redesign the entire intersection to give us those left-hand turn lanes. We believe that they can do it. We believe that now there's enough room, as you come Route 46 eastbound, that there's enough room to shift 12 feet to give us one lane to the right and allow us to get one more lane. So 2 lanes will go to the right, there'll be a turn lane, and the same thing come in the other direction. So it just makes more sense for us to do that. In the future, we also hope to make or prohibit no left-hand turn onto Old Wolf Road. I don't know if you recall, but we had a fatal accident there with a motorcycle. We'd like to avoid that again in the future. But right now, if we were to prohibit no left turn onto Old Wolf, 4,000 cars a day, we did a traffic study on it, 4,000 cars a day make that left-hand turn onto Old Wolf Road heading westbound from 46. Alex, right in front of your shop there, you know what it's like. So it certainly doesn't make sense at this point to make no left-hand turn onto Wolf Road and put 4,000 more cars a day down at an intersection that's already a problem heading that way. All these things combined lead us to believe we just have to keep pushing the state for a total redesign. So that's our answer, and everyone seems to be in agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe we are. Ms. Lavelle?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. What prompted the DOT to send this letter to us?
Approximately 2 years ago, I had sent them another letter
Okay.
saying that, again, we have a problem with this intersection.
Oh.
The problems with the intersection are poor visibility, outdated highway intersection engineering, lack of dedicated left-hand turn lanes, reduced sight distance because of the hill crest, and heavy traffic loads.
So their answer...
Those are the problems.
So their answer was just...
Their answer was to take away, all right, no left-hand turns onto Smithtown Road. Their traffic count gave us 100 vehicles. 100 vehicles, they were going to say, all right, that'll be great. Well, 100 vehicles won't be able to make the left. Well, that's not the problem. What compounds that issue is that those 100 vehicles are now going to have to find another location to make that left. So they're going to go down to Manor House. They're going to turn on Harris Lane. And part of the problem with that is not only are we putting additional vehicles into residential areas that weren't intended for it, but we have now taken cars from a controlled intersection and moved them to an uncontrolled intersection. It just doesn't make sense. It's well-intentioned, that's great, that's fantastic, but for us, it doesn't make sense. We have to continue to just keep pushing them to
Especially-
redesign the intersection.
Yeah, especially trying to make a left on to Harris, where cars are accelerating going up the
It's
mountain.
not a good
and
spot.
it's-
It just
no,
isn't
not
a
at
good
all.
spot, so
Oh, that's good. I figured, so that was their solution, so we got to keep chipping away
we
at
just
it.
have to keep chipping away at it. My concern is, and I'll tell council, my concern is DOT I was just at an engineering school, they're starting to get the idea that if they're coming in to fix intersections like this, they'll sometimes ask the township to kick in some funds to assist with that. I don't know if that's going to be the case here, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I think we just have to keep pushing for the redesign.
Yeah, thank you.
I agree, Mr. Roman?
Sergeant, is this one of our intersections where we have an inordinate amount of accidents?
Mr. Roman, I can tell you this, we used to. It's gotten better since we removed, like I said, about 1,000 yards of soil from each side of the road. Yes, it's definitely one of our worst intersections, but it has gotten better just by improving the sight distances. So,
Anything else? I think we're all in agreement with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
no problem. All right.
Have a
Thank
good
you for your
evening.
time. Guys, have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Any discussion on, we have two resolutions, an ordinance.
All these are here for silver spoons, just during the ordinance. I don't know if they want to speak.
Well, maybe, okay.
Okay.
Any questions on those? If not, do we have any old business? Any new business? Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, we have an adjournment to the public meeting.
So
So,
moved.
Second,
second,
all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Thank you. All right, on to the... Michelle, read the Open Public Meeting Act, please.
According to the Open Public Meetings Act with notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same. Mr. Amianda.
Here.
Mrs. Labow.
Here,
Mr. Mania. Mr. Perkins. Mr. Roman.
Here?
Mr. Ferrante.
Here.
Mr. Nacastro.
Here. Okay, at this time, the mayor has the State of the Township address.
Okay, before I start reading the State of the Township address for 2015, I note that some of you were here early and saw that the Weeblos were here, and they are getting their citizenship badges today. And so the State of the Township address, which is required by our ordinances to be given at the beginning of each year, really goes through all of the administrative functions that we do here in town and the successes that we have achieved over the course of the last year. With that, I'll read the State of the Township address for 2015. I've already supplied a copy of the address to the clerk's office to be included in the record, although I may deviate from it slightly. I'm going to read it virtually verbatim as to how you have it. Council President, members of the Town Council, municipal employees, Boy Scouts, friends, relatives, fellow residents of Mount Olive. I once again thank you for the opportunity to report on the state of the Township of Mount Olive this year. As I go into the final year of my first term as mayor, I am very pleased with where the township is situated for 2015 and beyond. I would like to thank John Mania for his leadership this past year and look forward to working with Joe Nacastro as council president in 2015. Through our conservative financial management, smart spending, and our efforts of attracting new businesses to Mount Olive for the second consecutive year, the budget that I will be submitting to the council will have no municipal tax increase. Even better, looking forward, I am hopeful that the 2016 and 2017 budgets will also contain no tax increase, even though I anticipate providing even greater level of municipal services. All of the successes, which will be detailed in this address, could not have been accomplished without the strong leadership provided by our business administrator, Sean Canning, and dedication of both Lisa Brett and Christy Stashnik, both of whom work in the mayor's office. Through their efforts, we effectively managed the benefits for the township's large workforce, including multiple complex visits from personnel for FMLA and other human resource issues. We conducted the initial examination into long-term medical benefits analysis in conjunction with our public employee unions. We administered the Turkey Brook Mount Playmore project. We used public purchasing to expand our inclusion in cooperatives to 2 national co-ops and 1 additional state co-op, saving the township money. We wrote, received, and awarded 27 public bids, in the process saving vast amounts of public dollars for our residents. We administered the Affordable Housing Trust Fund effort at Cobblestone. We assisted in the zoning enforcement area with the departure of our zoning officer. We implemented agenda meetings, ensuring council is fully apprised of the upcoming issues at council sessions, and department heads are fully involved. We negotiated with Fratelli Beretta, resulting in $1.5 million sale of sewer EDUs. We managed the auto refuse project, which came fully online in 2014 and has been nothing short of a huge success, both service-wise and financially. We negotiated a shared service agreement with Chester Borough for sanitation. We began initial efforts at taking over the Morris Hills and Morris Chase water systems. We implemented a long-term traffic solution to the problem at Country Oaks through the use of Gold Mine Road, and we worked with the DEP to resolve their concerns regarding the Mount Olive water systems. Some of our special projects coordinator accomplishments included assisting with the distribution of holiday baskets with the health department for the needy, coordination of the relocation of the food pantry and developing the outreach program with the clergy, coordination of holiday celebrations for the community, community communication through the use of 3 Facebook pages, coordination of the development of the 9/11 Mount Olive Memorial with Councilman Perkins, and remaining the point person with regard to community affairs, business development in Mount Olive, EDC, school liaison, and generally with the community residents. Through the extremely diligent efforts of the finance department, we had no audit recommendations for the 2014 audit. This was the 6th year in a row with no audit recommendations. Our tax collection rate is currently 99.04. Last year's rate was 98.94, so it went up. We increased the 2015 MVT by over $20 million for 2014. We resolved various state tax court appeals representing over $32 million in assessments, which had resulted in only a 4% in refunded tax payments. We switched banks from PNC Bank to TD Bank, which has resulted in a higher interest earnings for the township and reduced bank service fees. We completed an annual arbitrage analysis which showed no violations and no excess interest earnings that were due to the IRS. We defended over 40 county tax board appeals, which resulted in a net loss of less than 5% of the total appealed. We assisted with the HMFA pilot agreement, which resulted in additional revenue to the township. We completed our SEC continuing disclosure audit, which resulted in no negative findings. We made security enhancements to our office, including a glass shield and door lock system. We had our bond sale, which resulted in a premium to the township of $764,061.25. We created a new purchase order, which has more detailed information on to assist vendors and departments alike. We had over 180 added assessments in 2014, which resulted in an additional $560,000 of revenue for the township. We implemented the Kronos time and attendance system for all municipal departments, except for the police department, which has their own system. We completed the best practice checklist, and we had no reduction in state aid for 2014 as a result. We began work on the general revenue online payment system with SiteNet.
We purchased a currency discriminator to implement tighter security measures for detecting counterfeit money, and we completed our annual water sewer study that will result in no new rate increases for 2015. Last year, the planning department was actively engaged in a number of projects beyond the typical responsibilities to assist the general public with questions concerning the zoning, enforcement of the township land use ordinance, and the preparation of reports for the planning board for site plan, subdivision, and variance applications. Two of the larger applications approved by the planning board in 2014 included preliminary and final major subdivision and site plan approval to Toll Brothers / Regency at Flanders for an active adult age-restricted community consisting of 227 single-family units and 57 affordable family units, which will help satisfy the township's COA obligation. In January 2014, the planning board adopted a resolution memorializing the granting of preliminary and final site plan approval for Fratelli Beretta to construct a building 182,440 square feet, building of a 182,440 square foot building consisting of warehouse, assembly, and office space in the foreign trade zone. Once construction is finished, Fratelli Beretta will move its headquarters into this facility. As to COA affordable housing state mandated requirement, the township continued in its efforts to acquire the former Cobblestone nursing home site to remove the abandoned buildings and redevelop the site with affordable housing consistent with the township's COA requirements. Acquisition of the site and funding for environmental evaluation and assessment of the existing well for potable water capacity for the proposed development have been financed through the Mount Olive Affordable Housing Trust Fund. The planning department and the township's consultants also continue to work on a Highlands redevelopment plan for a section of Route 46 within the Highlands Preservation Area. The redevelopment area consists of some 17 properties, including the 5-acre municipal beach and former municipal building / public works site as its focal point. The ultimate objective is to create a new lake development district to revitalize the commercial and recreational potential within this area while simultaneously introducing new standards for environmental protection of the lake environs. In 2014, the building department was incredibly busy and worked diligently to provide all services required related to the issuing of permits and providing required inspection services related to fees, new development and/or construction in Mount Olive, as well as projects involving homeowner remodeling. For 2014, the building department collected $570,071 for permits and other fees, conducted 4,568 inspections, processed 32 permits with fees waived for governmental-owned buildings and schools. In 2014, the municipal court, working on behalf of both Mount Olive and Netcong, once again processed one of the highest rates of DWI arrests in Morris County through the use of special DWI trial sessions to address the backlog of DWI cases in Mount Olive, which resulted in a decrease in the backlog of such cases by 18%. The Mount Olive Court accepted a total of 137 DWI charges, 5,277 traffic charges, 127 parking offenses, 282 indictable charges, 922 disorderly persons, petty disorderly people's offenses, and 520 local ordinance violations from filing from January 1, 2014 through November 30, 2014. In the same time period, the court disposed of 142 DWI charges, 5,389 traffic charges, 137 parking offenses, 848 disorderly persons, petty disorderly persons offenses, and 532 local ordinance violations. With regard to fleet maintenance, with the help from Frank Wilbert Jr. and Tim Quinn, we were able to determine the future needs for heavy-duty equipment, developing a plan for 2015 into 2016. We developed a boilerplate for pickup trucks and single-axle dump trucks to help streamline parts ordering and labor times, thus keeping costs to a minimum. And we ordered and put into service several vehicles, both heavy-duty and light-duty. The Health Department in 2014 successfully renegotiated a shared services agreement with the town of Dover for 2015 and 2016. We also successfully renegotiated an animal control agreement with Byram Township for 2015 and 2016. We developed, along with the administration, an additional animal control shared services agreement with Washington Township. We initiated the use of iPad and field electronics for inspectors and have become more proficient in time saving and saved on cost of materials and supplies. Currently, we use the iPads for restaurant inspections, housing inspections, as well as complaint response and investigation. Mount Olive Health Department is moving beyond traditional inspection methods to increase efficiency of time spent by staff while increasing the quality of inspection. We collaborated with various emergency, police, fire, and EMS, providing critical and timely information relative to the Ebola outbreak. We completed 918 housing inspections in the apartment complexes, conducted 350 food inspections in all 4 communities they serve, 172 from Mount Olive. Participated in 21 special events that involved food inspections on weekends and holidays, 25 of those from other shared service communities. Conducted 34 soil and site evaluations for septic installations. Administered 650 doses of influenza vaccine, 120 immunizations to uninsured resident children. Conducted female and male cancer screening to uninsured residents, skin cancer and blood screening to residents as well. Initiated 2 smoking cessation programs and free diabetes education series, and investigated over 200 cases of reports of communicable diseases in Mount Olive and over 450 case updates in covered municipalities. Our animal control officer issued 284 dog licenses, 893 cat licenses, and collaborated on the development of the Washington Township Shared Services Agreement with the administration and our health officer. In 2014, OEM went through some changes. First, a deputy was added to perform training and conduct regular meetings with the emergency services in Mount Olive. Also, OEM began the formation of a CERT team in Mount Olive. OEM continues to work on several grants that are in final state review, Generator and UPS. OEM has partnered with Mount Olive Health Department to purchase infectious disease protective gear, as well as providing training to the emergency services. In 2014, Parks, Buildings, and Grounds completed the following. They hosted an estimated total of over 350,000 visitors to Mount Olive Parks, assisted in the construction and maintenance of Mount Claymore, assisted in the construction of the 9/11 Memorial, assisted in the construction of the fire pit at Turkey Brook Park, assisted with the installation of lights on soccer fields 3 and 4 at Turkey Brook Park, as well as backlighting on the Loop Road. They cleared the entrance to Turkey Brook Greenway parking for enhanced use and traffic safety. They hosted several baseball, softball tournaments at township facilities. They assisted recreation with 17 events, including the Carnival, Momentum 5K, Mud Run, Monster Mash, and the Fairy and Pirate Festival, to name a few. They hosted the 20th annual Mount Olive Soccer Club Halloween tournament, maintained and improved the Givaudan Braille Trail, the White Trail, and the Orange Trail networks, assisted in the development of Drakes Brook Park for lacrosse use in 2015, assisted in the renovation of the historic Mount Olive Baptist Church and Mount Olive Academy sites, developed plans and implemented landscape plannings utilizing tree bank funds, maintained operations of all mechanical systems in the township DPW garage, fleet garage, senior center, and town hall locations, and responded to over 3,200 work order calls. Each public buildings and grounds employee averaged 356 calls for the year. The Recreation Department, as in all years that I have been mayor, had many successes in 2014. The Recreation Department held 20 special events during the year with a total annual attendance of over 35,000 participants, including Cabin Fever Reliever, the Do or Die 5K Color Fun Run, Power Wheels Race Series, the Fairy Pirate Festival, Raiders of the Lost Park, Mud Run, Mount Olive Week Carnival, movies in the park, and the Monster Mash Dash. More events are planned for 2015, including the food trucks and fireworks festival. Recreation offered over 22 summer camp programs which served more than 1,000 children. They ran enrichment and fitness programs for both adults and children. They organized and oversaw the Mount Olive Farmers Market, conducted online continuing education courses, created weekly e-newsletters, websites, and Facebook posts, and planned and helped build Mount Playmore, a wonderful addition to Turkey Brook Park. The Public Works Department successfully maintained and improved the township-owned infrastructure. The department continues to improve through more efficient fleet maintenance, introduction of the one-armed bandit system, upgrades to the Clover Hill Sewer Plant lift station, road resurfacing, including sections of Sandshore Road, Flanders Drakestown Road, Tulip Avenue, International Drive South, and a section of Woods Edge. Implementation of the community development grant we received allowed the township to install storm drainage to areas of town suffering from stormwater issues, such as 1st Street, 2nd Street, and 4th Street. As always, the township continued to improve in all aspects related to information technology, including better security at the municipal building in Turkey Brook Park, a new township website with updated content, updated software implementation, an events management system, display boards in the main lobby of Town Hall, improved off-site storage, trial security system upgrades, continued hardware upgrades throughout all of the departments in the building. In 2014, the police department had both a significant call load and administrative matters to handle. In 2014, the police department handled another year of increasing call load and was simultaneously managed several important projects. Additionally, the agency was also busy replacing and training new personnel. During the year, 4 officers departed, including the patrol commander and a detective sergeant. A recruitment and selection process was conducted, and the township initially hired officers Paganis and Saunders, who both successfully graduated the police academy in December. This month, 2 new officers will begin their basic training at the Morris County Police Academy, Mark Reynolds and James Carney. Phil Lucevero was promoted to lieutenant and has taken over the patrol commander position, and Jeff Califoot and Dave Turner have both been promoted to sergeant. In addition, records clerk Bonnie Shump retired, and Kariska Savensky was hired to fill that vacancy. Communication officer James Seeger was hired as a police officer in Parsippany and was replaced by Scott Baker. It was another busy year. In fact, the police department calls for service increased again to nearly 80,000. The types of calls range from a homicide to property crimes and narcotic-related arrests. The heroin epidemic is of particular concern, and as a result, the police department has initiated a Narcan program headed by Officer Marianne Wertenberg and Assistant Patrol Commander Karlstrom. Each frontline patrol officer is being trained as to how to administer life-saving doses of Narcan to overdose patients. The patrol division has made approximately 800 arrests this year, including 112 drug-related offenses, 130 arrests for driving while intoxicated. Patrol officers have conducted over 21,500 directed patrols towards targeted areas of concern within the township. A project in simulcast radio for police, fire, and first aid is currently being managed within the police department by Corporal Eric Anthony. This project has been undertaken to assure that radio reception is achievable in all areas of our township. In 2014, we added the Barcoded Evidence Analysis Statistics and Tracking, better known as BEAST, system to manage our evidence and property storage and retrieval process. The BEAST project is managed within our Investigations Division by Detective Corporal Craig Casaletto. The Investigation Division, specifically Detective Lieutenant Dunn, also instituted an early warning detection system into the internal affairs process. The Guardian Tracking Program detects and exposes area of improvement according to complaints received or discipline meted out for our staff. Lieutenant Michael Spitzer coordinated quarterly meetings known as MOJESC, Mount Olive Joint Emergency Services Committee, designed to facilitate better communication and working relationships amongst the police, fire, emergency medical, and dispatch personnel serving our town. A coordinated drill was held at the Mount Olive High School to practice in the event of a joint response ever being necessary. In the support division, traffic-related studies and recommendations for improvement were proposed. The intersection of Wolf Road and Route 46, the Clover Hill Drive speed study, the Tints Road study, the Route 46 at the Route 80 off-ramp sidewalk, the Gold Mine Road study, and the Kids First Sidewalk Safety Project, to name a few. Lieutenant Craig Austenberg and Sergeant Michael Poquat also spent time during 2014 increasing communication with the Board of Education and by attending periodic meetings at the board building to foster better communication. What I've included in this address is only a small sampling of what our township departments and employees have accomplished over the course of last year. Let us not forget that they are on the front line every day working to make Mount Olive a better, safer place to live. To that end, I congratulate all of the employees in all of the successes of 2014 and look forward to greater achievements in 2015. As we move forward into 2015 and beyond, we have many things to look forward to. We can also take pride in the momentum the township has and continues to generate. I can't tell you how many people stop to tell me that they love living in Mount Olive. I would like to thank the town council, our business administrator, Sean Canning, and all of our municipal employees for a job well done in 2014. May you all have a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year. Sincerely and with great appreciation, Rob Greenbaum, Mayor of Mount Olive Township. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I speak for everyone up here that it is a pleasure to work together with you and the administration to bring so many great things to this township, and it is a great place to live and be. Thank you very much.
Here, here.
Okay,
I second that.
we have no approval of any minutes. Correspondence. I see that we have 9 pieces of correspondence. Do we have a motion to accept them? No. Any questions on the correspondence? I'm sorry.
No.
We have a motion to accept them?
So moved? No, we don't have to do that.
I forgot. Okay, thank you. Ordinances for public portion. Next item on the agenda for this first reading of ordinance number 1-2015, entitled An Ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, authorizing the conveyance of a deed of historic preservation easement to the Morris County Board of Chosen Freeholders for the property known as Block 7801, Lot 14, as Mount Olive Baptist Church. Mr. Amianda.
Yes, Mr. President. I move that ordinance number 1-2015 be introduced by title and passed on first reading, and that a meeting be held on January 20, 2015 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Dwigstown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, for a public hearing, consideration of second reading, and passage of said ordinance, and that the clerk be directed to publish, post, and make available said ordinance in accordance with the requirements of the law.
A second?
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. Thank you. Consent resolutions. Does anyone wish to have any moved to non-consent? Seeing none. Mrs. Laybow?
Yes, I move consent resolutions 1 and 2.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. Any administrative reports?
The only administrative report that I'm going to give this evening relates to the water situation that we had up at Oakwood. On Saturday morning at about 11 o'clock, I was alerted to the fact that there were water issues. That alert came to me through Facebook posts. Immediately contacted DPW and was advised that there was a serious situation at the pump house. The main pump, which pumps water from the bottom of the hill to the water towers on top, had, for lack of a better term, exploded and had shut down. When the Saturday employee came in to check the equipment, he was confronted with that situation. They immediately started working on fixing it. It became apparent that due to the fact that the pump had shut down, the water had drained from the towers up top through use and wasn't being replenished. The backup pump was not sufficient to get enough water back into the pump, and we had to shut down the water system until we could get enough water back into the tank. At that point, we attempted to communicate with as many residents as we could, both through my Facebook page and also through reverse 911 calls through the Everbridge system. We've learned some lessons in terms of what happened and our response to what happened. And I know that there was a meeting which was held by Sean on Monday of this week, and some of those issues were discussed more fully in terms of equipment that needs to be purchased to give us a better alarm system. The problem in this case was that the system went down on a Friday night into a Saturday morning where there's obviously no one in the building to monitor water use. And I'm not sure that we would have picked up water use anyway, because it was relative, I assume, or at least what I've been told is that it was relatively the same water use, but no water going back in. So until someone actually went out to the pump station, we had no idea that the pump had actually shut down and was not functioning. So we're looking at the possibility of putting alarms on all of our pumping stations, audible alarms, so that would give us notice sooner in terms of what had occurred. And we've asked for quotes in terms of what that would cost, and we've actually included some capital from the water utility to start implementing some of those costs. Learned something about communication as well. I think that we made a mistake in that once we learned that there was a problem, first of all, I think it took too long for the communication effort to begin, and that for me to have to find out through a Facebook post by people, I don't think that's the appropriate way. I think once and it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, because I'm not sure that anyone knew that when the pump went down that we were going to have a serious shortage of water up in the tanks. Now we know it. But I think what we're going to need to do is to put something in place that when the system actually goes down like that, there has to be, OEM has to be contacted immediately. And we need to put somebody in the building to actually answer calls, because most of the complaints that I got were people who don't follow me on Facebook, who did not sign up for the Everbridge system, and therefore they had no idea what was going on, when their water was coming back, what the cause of the problem was. And I think that we needed to actually bring somebody into the building to answer the phone, because the people would call up town hall and get a busy signal. And I got a few of those messages for the mayor who said, I've called, sewer and water, all I got was a busy signal, and no one was getting any information. So as I say, it's really hard to think outside the box in terms of all of the different types of problems that we might have. But each time we do have a problem, we need to learn from it, try and adapt it to other types of situations, and create better responses. And I think that we're doing that through Sean's review. And as of now, the water system is functioning properly, although I was advised today that there was a water main break, I guess, which is not our responsibility within the complex itself, and the complex was actually fixing that, and I think that was to building number 1.
Thank you, Alex.
I mean, I wouldn't lay the blame entirely on you as far as communication. Some of the complaints that I got is that residents were calling management within Oakwood, and they kept getting told that it'll be fixed in a couple hours, and, you know, I don't know where they were getting their information from, but definitely they dropped the ball as far as communication. And to follow up also, earlier in the week, I had emailed Sean a couple of requests, obviously an after-action report. But the other thing I had requested, and I don't know how long it'll take to get these numbers, but I'd like to know how many residents are served by that system, and how much does it cost us to operate that system. I was advised that Oakwood had changed their policy for charging for water, I think within the last year or so, and they're charging residents for water use. And I just want to, at least for my own edification, to find out whether it is a pass-along cost, or if they are, you know, inflating the cost of water onto residents.
I would suggest, if you haven't already, that you submit something to Sean in writing, and I'm sure that he'll respond in a timely fashion, as he always does.
Thank you.
Colin?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I also want to thank the mayor. I had a resident, you know, like Alex was saying, we get a lot of, you know, communication from people, what's going on. And one of the residents had actually sent me a message through Facebook, and he had a situation where he was on, you know, had a medical issue, and how much longer, because otherwise he'd have to go to the hospital. And the best part was I just like sent the mayor a text, and within minutes it was response. And it's just so nice to have that kind of communication between the council and the administration, and we know that at any given point we're going to get a response, and we can relay that information to the residents. So I want to thank you very much for being so quick.
Well, that's one of the benefits of the Facebook page that I run, which I'm addicted to. So if I get a complaint, I generally try and respond to the complaint. One of the things which was interesting is, as the water system went down and as OEM started to crank up, we recognized that the hydrants up there were down as well. And so we had to start planning, or at least make sure that we had a plan in place that if there were a fire emergency, that we would go to a tanker system at the earliest onset, similar to a part of town that is not served through hydrant service. The last thing that I need to say is that Flanders Fire and Rescue came full force to the problem. They opened up the firehouse, they manned the firehouse, they provided potable water source for anyone who wanted to come down, and there were a lot of people who came down to fill jugs, and they provided a shower service during the time frame. I don't know if you can really understand how important water is when you lose it for over a 24-hour period, and you can't flush your toilet, and you can't take a shower, and you can't cook food. At times it can, as Colleen said, become life-threatening, actually. And fortunately, in this situation, we didn't really have any life-threatening situations, and we didn't have any fire situations that we had to deal with. But once we were alerted to the situation, we were prepared to deal with both.
Excellent.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any comments? Thank you very much, Mayor. That's it? Nothing else on that? Okay.
Oh, one last
Yes.
thing. I also want to thank Mr. Quinn for coming here tonight, in case if we had any questions. I saw the email that you were requested in case there was any additional information that we needed, and that's greatly appreciated, because Tim starts work extremely early, and here he is still available for any questions we have, so thank you very much.
Any old business? Seeing none, any new business? Any legal matters?
We have no reports tonight, Council.
Council reports. Mr. Amiand, anything on Board of Ed?
Yes. The Board of Education met yesterday, January 5, 2015, 6:30 p.m. at the board office for reorganization. Elected board officers were Anthony Giordano for president and Rhonda Cohen for vice president. The board passed a resolution to hold 2015 work session and regular meetings at 6:30 p.m. Work session meeting will be held at 6:30 p.m. on second Monday of each month at the board conference room, 89 Route 46, Bad Lake, New Jersey. And regular meetings, unless otherwise indicated, will be held on the fourth Monday of each month at Mount Olive Middle School Cafeteria, 160 Wolf Road, Bad Lake, New Jersey. And that's the end of the board.
Thank you. Mr. Ferrante, anything?
Nothing.
Ms. Laybout?
Thank you. Nothing right now for senior citizens report or the EDC, but I do have a report for the Mount Olive TNR project. They were asked to do a report for 2014 for the Board of Health, and I thought it was an extremely interesting report, so I just wanted to read through it really fast for you. It goes on to say that this, from the time, the inception from 2008, when Mount Olive TNR first began, so far there's been a 92% reduction in impoundments. And, oops, one second. Okay, impoundments, and we have, they've been diligently, now they're working on retrapping the cats for the colonies. Now, we had started out with several colonies, and since that time, they have reduced. Every single colony has reduced, and some have become extinct, which is absolutely phenomenal. And just have to increase this my font here. They have. They also have adoptions. They took in 77 cats and kittens this past year for fostering and adoption. 57 of the cats were from Mount Olive, and of those 57 cats that were Mount Olive cats, 15 came from colony sites, 9 from RH Farm, and 3 from Ironia Road during initial TNR trapping, 3 abandoned at Oakwood. 8 came from, hold on one second, 8 came from Golub, Dr. Golub's office. 4 were surrenders from people who otherwise would have gone through animal control. 30 were from situations where we either removed the kittens or cats known to be friendly or trapped for TNR, but the cats turned out to be tame, so they didn't have to go back into the colonies, which has been the case many, many times. This group of people, volunteers, are phenomenal because they'll bring the cats in, and if they can possibly tame them and adopt them out, we adopt them, and they, oh, God bless you. And they have adoptions over at really great. Tractor Supply is fantastic. We do a lot of adoptions over there. So I mean, from 2008, 181 cats were trapped, brought to Dr. Golub's, and were all euthanized. 181 in 2008. And now nothing, thanks to Mayor Greenbaum and our business administrator, Mr. Kenny, and the council, we have made this a no-kill town, which is absolutely phenomenal, and we're doing a lot of really great things all the way around for everybody. And the iWork system has been phenomenal, because when ACO gets any animals, it puts them right into iWorks. TNR knows to go in there, and they start preparing for an adoption site for the cat that's been brought in. So I mean, just as a lot of you, Alex, you probably remember, everything was a couple years back, and now everybody's working together, and it's just absolutely wonderful. So just wanted to include it in on reports for the year, Mayor. It's phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds really going well. Mr. Amianda, I know you probably have anything on MOTV? Or not yet, right?
No report.
Okay. Mr. Roman?
Nothing on open space, and on recreation, we meet next week.
Okay. Board of Health meets on the 21st, so nothing on there yet. Mr. Mania is not here, and that's it. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, council comments, anyone? Mr. Amianda?
No.
Ms. Laybow?
I just want to thank everybody for everything we've gone through this past year, and I'm looking forward to an even better 2015. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Roman?
I have nothing.
Mr. Ferrante?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing from me. Have have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yay.